And here we are, having something wonderful happen. Woo! Oh, I want to welcome you all here today. My name is Keri King, and I am a third-year ministerial student. I will be graduating in 8 weeks. Oh, wow, something wonderful. I want to say hello to some special people in Wisconsin. I know that my mom and dad are watching, and there may be some sisters that might be involved with that also. There is also a church down in Branson that is following me. And I want to say a special shout out to my aunt in the Caribbean, who is also watching. Woo! So I'm going worldwide at this point in the game. So much fun. Oh, so here we are. Let's just take a moment to breathe in and become fully present right here, right now. And as we do that, we recognize that there is one power and one presence. And that power and that one presence is everywhere. It indwells each one of us. It holds the stars in place and moves every cell in our body. We call that God. And when we relax into the knowledge that we are fully supported and loved in that Godness, we can fully let go and be and express that Godness through us. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity today to hopefully give each one of you the chance to feel Spirit rise within you. I know that our hearts are open. I know that we are fully supported. And I say thank you, God. Amen. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper. And I feel my spirit rising. I love that. And then I get up from where I'm sitting, and I walk away, and I forget about it. Don't we all do that sometimes? It's life. And yet, what I've learned through practicing, and I say practicing, meditation for years, really, literally years, that there's a piece of that, that spirit rising that stays with me. Even though I might not be aware of it, it's there. And it feels so good to know that it's there. It's right here, right now. If I would just go a little bit deeper, just a little deeper, and let my spirit rise. When I say makes my spirit rise, what I'm talking about is it opens my mind and it opens my heart to that Godness within me. It really makes me aware of that. And it allows me to perceive the world from a higher perspective. When I bump into something, I can see the truth of it more easily than I ever could before. And I can see now that in some ways it is all good. It wasn't too far in the distant past where that was really hard for me to do. You know, in Unity, we have principles, right? And one of those principles is that we believe in prayer. We have a monument to prayer right over here in Silent Unity. We believe in prayer. Another one of those principles is that we have to practice all of our principles. We've got to put the rubber to the road. We've got to practice. So today I'm going to talk you, hopefully, into putting the rubber to the road in your meditation practice. Because you just got to do it. Regular meditation is a form of prayer, and it's one of the most effective ways that I've found in my life to really change my life. Not in the way of, oh, I'm going to get a new car, or I've just got to get through this test, but in how I deal with the world in general. You know, it's interesting in that meditation has become kind of a trendy thing. And there's actually been a lot of studies done about it now. Do you know that there are over 75 ways in which meditation, they have documented scientifically that meditation affects us? Physically, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, and then there's spiritually. And what I'm trying to do today is talk more about the spiritual aspect. And in terms of our spiritual well-being, meditation empowers our awareness of that Christedness within us. It allows us to become more mindful, so we're able to discern with better wisdom and use better judgment. It gives us a sense of peace at times when sometimes it's hard to find that sense of peace. It helps us forgive. And you know what else it does that's really cool? Is it makes that sense of oneness that we talk about so much in unity real, because it is real. And when we meditate, that's where we learn that. And all of you who do practice meditation on a regular basis, I'm sure already know about that feeling. And once you've had that feeling, you can't go back. You know, and there's nobody that's going to talk you out of the fact that you know that you are connected with something much bigger than you are. It trains us to be in the present moment, right here, right now. And that is what makes our life great. When we can be right here, that's the point of creation, and that's where you want to be. In practicing meditation, my life has gotten significantly better. There was a point back in the olden days when it's getting older and older. but there was a point where every new thing in my life was a major challenge. I had so much anxiety. I was so nervous. Oh my gosh, can I do this? Am I good enough? Oh, I just don't know that I can do this. There was a point where I was a new nurse. And being relatively new to the hospital, I had some coworkers, and we decided we were going to go take a break together. And I remember shaking at just sitting and having a roll and a cup of tea with a bunch of people who just wanted to get to know me. That's how anxious I was. Look at me now. And I gotta tell you, I really do believe that prayer and meditation brought me to this place. I really do. Psalms 46 talks about getting still, and that's what meditation is all about. Psalm 46 starts out with, God is our refuge and strength. And that's really what we're talking about here, is finding that space within us that anchors us. But further down, the author says, referring to God, He makes war cease to the end of the earth. He breaks the bow and shatters the spear. He burns the chariots with fire. Whoa, what a God. And then he puts quotes and suggesting that this is what God said. Be still and know that I am God. I am exalted among the nations. I am exalted in the earth. And then the author writes, the Lord of hosts is with us. The God of Jacob is our refuge. Oh, wow. Doesn't that feel good? Isn't that reassuring? And yet, my experience in New Thought, and I remember doing this as a New Thought newbie, we get all excited about this thing, and you read that phrase, and it says, "Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am God." Well, that's not really what they're talking about here. Yes, we have that beautiful spark of divinity within us, but there is a much greater allness that is God. That when we connect in meditation, that's what happens. That was a command from God. Be still and know that I am. Know that I am. Get still long enough to be present in that Godness and know God. Be still and know omnipotence, omnipresence, omniscience. To be still means to just relax, to let go, to let God. Let God. It's also used in the expression of not making an effort. We just let. And so often it's so hard for us to just let. But when we be still, when I be still, is that correct grammar? When I be still, my spirit rises. It just does. And you know, spirit is a little bit like this. To me, we're unaware of the spirit within us. Kind of like, are y'all familiar with raw milk? There's cream in raw milk. It makes it taste rich and adds a deliciousness to the milk that most of us nowadays aren't even aware of. But it's in there. And that's just like spirit within us. It's in there all the time, but we're just not aware of it. You know, we're moving around. There's this catch to this thing. We have to be still. In order for the cream to rise to the top, you have to stop shaking the bottle. And it's just like that for us in meditation. We have to get still and stop shaking the bottle, stop shaking our minds, and just be still. It's that cream that's gotten me this far in school. When that cream rises to the top, you can use it for things. When my spirit rises, I can use it. I can engage it in ways that I wasn't able to do before, and it empowers me. Carolyn Mace tells us that, well, actually, there's another catch to this whole thing. I'm going to put the milk bottle over here because I want you to just think about that a little bit. But Carolyn Mace tells us that there's something else we need to do, and that is that we need to do meditation regularly. We need to get a spiritual bank account, so to speak. It's not good enough to just sit down once in a while and kind of tune in. You got to get with the program. You got to do it regularly. Just like you can't make butter off 1 quart of milk, you can't expect spirit to work in your life if you just sit down once in a while and let it come up a little bit. And then you go shake it all up again. You've got to allow spirit to accumulate. Mace also tells us that the time to really engage in meditation is not when we're in trouble, not when we're up against the wall, although sometimes it does help. But if you have a spiritual bank account, what happens is that suddenly you're supported by spirit. You don't know how it happened. You didn't really pay a whole lot of attention, but it's there. And it feels really good. There was a time in my life when things got a little bumpy. Not too very long ago, my husband was pretty sick. And we were sitting in an emergency room, and the doctor came out and said, "Well, it looks like your husband has had a massive heart attack. But it looks like it happened 5 days ago, during his major surgery for metastatic cancer." That was not fun. There was anger, there was frustration, there was doubt, there was fear, there was guilt. And yet, there was also a place within me where I felt supported somehow. That as horrible as all of that was, that I wasn't going to sink to the bottom. We weren't going to sink to the bottom. We weren't going to drown. Spirit was rising, and I hadn't even engaged it consistently, or hadn't even engaged it at that time. But I had engaged it consistently over time. And I know that's what got me through this. In Matthew 25, it's written that Jesus taught this story. Then the kingdom of heaven shall be compared to 10 maidens who took their lamps and went to meet the bridegroom. 5 of them were foolish, and 5 of them were wise. For when the foolish took their lamps, they took no oil with them, but the wise took flasks of oil with their lamps. As the bridegroom was delayed, they all slumbered and slept. But at midnight there was a cry, "Behold, the bridegroom! Come out to meet him!" Then all those maidens rose and trimmed their lamps. And the foolish said to the wise, "Give us some of your oil, for our lamps are going out." But the wise replied, "Perhaps there will not be enough for us and for you. Go rather to the dealers and buy for yourselves." And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and those who were ready went in with him to the marriage feast, and the door was shut. Afterwards, the other maidens came along also, saying, "Lord, Lord, open to us." But he replied, "Truly, I say to you, I do not know you. Watch therefore, for you know neither the day nor the hour." We know neither the day nor the hour when we're going to need to get lit, when we're going to need that light within us. Metaphysically, we can interpret that light from the oil lamp, as I just referred to be the Christ light that shines within each one of us. And the oil represents that faithful, active, obedient discipleship. Faithful, active, obedient discipleship. That means sit down and get still. You have to be prepared for whatever might happen. And it's not necessarily talking about being prepared for something negative, like I just talked about. Sometimes we're not prepared for something wonderful. Again, years ago, I had the opportunity to go to work for a big corporation. And it would have been a really cool job. And in retrospect, now I think, oh man, maybe I should have done that. But again, I was not tuned in. I was not in my spiritual state that I am at this point in the game in my life. I was too afraid. I had no confidence. I can't do this. I went as far as getting oriented and started kind of doing this job, but I had this other job back here. And it felt so much safer to stay with that job than it would be to step out in confidence, knowing that I could do this. I didn't have that. I wasn't prepared. So it's not just the bad stuff that you want to prepare for. You want to prepare for the good stuff. And there can be some really good stuff. Another piece to this whole thing is that those 5 bridesmaids couldn't borrow any oil from the wise ones. They wouldn't let them. You can't get anyone to do your meditation for you. You can read books, you can look at CDs, but you gotta do your own meditation. Just like you can't expect to run a marathon if you don't exercise every single day, if you don't build up for it. You have to practice every day. You've got to get your oil. You need enough oil to stay lit. You have to get it yourself, and you have to be prepared. So regular meditation enables us to become fully present to any situation. And when it happens, when we really move into the stillness, we release the past and we release the future. The past is just imagining and memory, and the future is just imagining. And why do we want to spend time there when we can spend time right here? But we have to get still to do that. Some other benefits of meditation are that what I have found is that through meditation, you develop what I like to call currency of spirit. There's this cool thing that happens when you sink down far enough and you begin to feel that connectedness, and you feel, y'all know, that love. It's pure God love. And when you feel that, again, like I said, you can't forget that. And some of that's left with you. And when it's left with you, what happens is suddenly, what I have discovered, and relatively recently, it's way easier for me to love other people. It's not, I should love that person. I'm going to try really hard to really care and be compassionate. Suddenly, it's just easier to go, oh yeah, of course I love them. Even, I'm telling you, even the presidential candidates that we're working with right now, I can love them in all of whatever they are, expressing as God in the world. Now that's a benefit of meditation. There's a cream that rises to the top in meditation. It's a balm, literally a balm, like a cream for your soul. That's how I experienced it. When I was sitting in that hospital room with Bob, there was just this peace. Yeah, sure, I was still feeling traumatized, but there was still this peace. And there was this wonderful doctor who just happened to walk in, the emergency room doctor, who obviously had to have been very, very busy, who sat down next to Bob's bedside and looked over at me and he goes, I see someone who feels really guilty about this. That man, I swear, was sent by God to help me feel better. And he did. And I'm so grateful for that. And friends that I called, and I said, hey, this has happened. Oh my gosh. They were there. They prayed. And here's my Bob. Meditation has gotten me through massages too, but meditation has gotten me through so much. So, I'm just asking you all to not be a foolish bridesmaid. Don't forget your oil. Get your oil and save some up. Let your cream rise to the top. Get that balm. Get that peace. I would not ever stop doing my meditation practice now. Do you want to experience greater peace? Yes, you do. Do you want to be inspired when things look really bleak? Yes, you do. Do you want to be prepared when a wonderful opportunity arises? Yes, you do. Do you want to have better judgment when it comes to making decisions? Of course you do. So just be still and let spirit rise. I just really want to encourage you to do that because you can make such a delicious life with that cream. Oh, yeah. just let Spirit rise. And you'll find yourself experiencing a whole new way of life. Thank you. Get ready, my soul. I'm going to take you now into a meditation, a little bit deeper than what we normally do in this service. But I'm going to do it because I can. Because I want you to take it home with you and use it as a reminder. I have this picture here that was painted by someone who was inspired by the 12 powers. Those 12 powers are those things, those powers that Fillmore believed that we were imbued with as Christ consciousness within ourselves. And I just think that this picture so beautifully depicts those powers and Spirit rising out of our awareness of those powers. So I invite you now to just make yourself comfortable in your chair. Take a deep breath and allow yourself to be fully present, knowing that you are safe here in this space. Allow yourself to become aware of your body and hear my words as your words as I speak. So I become aware of that space at the base of my spine where that energetic power of life lies. And I feel every cell and fiber of my being activated and energized by the life of Christ. Every cell floating through my vessels, every sinew, every tendon, fully bathed in this beautiful light. And in the awareness of this light, I choose to release anything that does not serve my highest and best good. Any past, any future, any beliefs that are standing in the way of my expressing myself as God in the world. And I engage divine order as I sink deeply into the great mind that is God. As I receive ideas and use the strength of mind, body, and spirit to bring those ideas to manifestation. I become aware of my solar plexus and I engage the power of wisdom. The wisdom of the ages that I have access to as I am still. The wisdom that engaged Plato and Jesus, all present. And it is that wisdom coupled with love that serves the world. So I choose love. I choose to allow myself to experience that love in a deep and profound way. That beautiful, attracting, unifying love. And I zealously express that love through the power of my word as I speak it into being in the world. I imagine a world that works for all. I imagine God's love manifested here now. And I understand that as I move into that truth, that all will be well. And I use my will to hold myself in that space when it looks like it's not possible. And I ground all of these perfect affirmations into my faith in God, in that Christedness within me, knowing that I am one in that Godness. And I am so deeply grateful for that truth. And so now I sink even deeper into that silence. From that space in the silence, I begin to return, and I feel my spirit rising. I feel the peace, and I feel the strength, and I feel the power. And I know that everything is holy now. Oh, yeah. He does.
He does.
He does. And I would like to give thanks also to a group of people. Do we have that up? There it is. There's so much to be grateful for. These chapel services do not happen by themselves. And so I just have a list here. Debris. Why don't you all those who are involved in helping me do my chapel service, would you please stand up? There's a few people. Yeah, I mean, there's people who are not on the list here. Lane and Chris in back, Patty Busey, who makes sure that this place is available for us. We have camera people. We have hospitality people. We are so blessed. And I would like to invite the ushers to bring the gifts forward so that we can bless those also. And I bless all of you. So we say thank you. Thank you to each one of you for sharing of your spirit, because I believe that spirit is expressed through each one of these donations that you've made today. And for those of you who, I'm sorry I left out, who would like to donate online, there is a little button that you can push on. And so we just say thank you. Thank you for understanding how spirit works in the world through the physical manifestation of, yes, money. And we are so grateful for that it goes to help put on these chapel services so that we can be here in this space every Wednesday afternoon and make this happen. So we're so grateful for these gifts. and for the people who have made this possible today. Thank you very much. So if you all join me in the prayer for protection. And we know what that is, right? The love of God. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you so much for coming today. We have Dove bars with ice cream in them as a symbol of spirit rising for hospitality today, in addition to angel food cake, and it's right out front here, so I hope you'll all stick around and participate. Thank you for coming today.